Good day everyone. Yung i-discuss ko po is the general model for accounting information system. So, itong figure na to, it shows the key stages of an information system, and each stages is merong potential area of risk para sa certain type of fraud. So, the first stage in general model is data collection. Alam naman natin na yung collection of data is one of the important stage in information system. So, dapat lahat ng data na naka-enter sa system natin should be valid, correct, complete, and free from material errors. Kasi, syempre, kung incorrect data yung input natin sa system, maglilid tayo sa misreporting and for false information, and the organization is at risk. So, we have two rules govern the design of data collection procedures. Yung una is relevance. So, syempre, in data collection, only relevant data must be collected. And the fundamental task of a system designer is to determine kung yung relevant at hindi relevant, kung ano yung mga relevant at hindi relevant data. And ayun nga, yung mga relevant data lang yung kukunin natin. Next is efficiency. Sa efficiency naman, yung data must be collected timely, with no redundancy and no inconsistency, kasi pwedeng mag-result sa inappropriate action and bad decision. Ayun. So, sa data collection, ito yung pinaka-simplest way para makapag-commit ng computer fraud. Hindi na need ng computer skills para magawa to dahil madaling mamanipulate ang data, lalo na kung ikaw yung may control dito. So, here are the example of such fraud. Yung una is masquerading. Sa masquerading, si perpetrator kukuha ng information para magkaroon ng access, then magpapanggap siyang authorized user. Next is piggybacking. Almost same siya sa masquerading, pero ang nangyayari dito sa piggybacking, si authorized user magla-login sa system, then follows by perpetrator. And syempre walang consent ni authorized user. Then after makapasok ni perpetrator sa system ni company, magpapanggap na siyang authorized user. Ayan, ganun. Next is hacking. So, syempre, alam naman natin na hacking is one of the threat to security computer na pwedeng maka-affect sa company. Dito naman, si hacker is nagkakaroon ng unauthorized access sa computer system ni company, and hacker usually break system rather than theft asset. Next stage is data processing. After collection of data, the data is processed to produce information. Yung example ng data processing include mathematical algorithms such as linear programming models. So, ginagamit to for production scheduling application. Next is statistical techniques. Ito naman, this is for production, for sale forecasting. Next is posting and summarizing procedures. Ito naman ginagamit for accounting applications. Next is data processing frauds fall into two classes. Program fraud includes the following techniques. First is creating illegal program. So this program fraud can access data files to alter, delete, or insert values into accounting records. Next is destroying or corrupting programs. Dito naman, ginagamitan ng computer virus para makorrupt or masira yung data. Next is altering program. Dito sa altering program, pinapalitan nila yung system or program para yung processing data is mag-result sa misstatement and false information. Yung example ng program fraud is salami fraud, wherein yung rounding of logic of program is dinadaya. Kunwari, di ba, si company may policy na by 5 magra-round off na. Then, yung ginagawa nung perpetrator is hindi na nila nira-round off. Gumagawa sila ng other account. Then, doon nila nilalagay lahat ng mga amount na dapat i-add dun sa other users. So, syempre, yung mga amount na yon is hindi yung mga amount na yun immaterial na dun sa user kasi mababang amount lang. Pero kay perpetrator, kung madami siyang user na nakukunan is mas malaki yung amount na yun na makukuha niya. Ayun. Next is operation fraud. Operation fraud is the misuse or theft of the firm's computer resources. Madalas involved dito yung paggamit ng computer ni company in conducting personal business. For example, si CPA gumagamit ng computer ni company para mag-prepare ng pre-tax return and financial statement ng personal client niya. Ayun. Next is database management. Database management is the organization database. It is the warehouse for storing financial and non-financial data. In database management, meron tayong database management fraud. Ito yung common fraud technique. Dito, ang ginagawa, ina-access yung database ni company from remote site and titingnan yung mga important information, then kukunin yon para ibenta sa competitors. Next is information generation. Sa information generation, ito yung process ng pag-compile, pag-arrange, and pag-format, and pag-present ng information sa end users. However, yung information may be an operational document such as a sales order, a structured report, or a message on a computer screen. So, every kind ng information must have the following key qualities. Yung una is relevance. So, syempre, tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, yung data or information must contain relative data and facts for the company to have a good decision making. Next is timeliness. So, syempre, yung information is hindi sobrang luma or sobrang tagal na. So, dapat yung information na gagamitin for making decision must be current. Next is accuracy. From the word itself, the information must be accurate and yung information is free from material errors. Next is completeness. Syempre, lahat ng necessary information is complete. Kasi kung kulang yung information, si organization is at risk. Lastly is summarization. Yung information na ipepresent sa end users dapat nakasummarize and naintindihan. Ayun. Sa information generation, yung common form of fraud is to steal, misdirect, and misuse computer output. So, merong technique para makakuha ng information. Yun nga yung scavenging. Scavenging involves searching through the trash can of the computer center for discarded output. For example, si perpetrator kumukuha ng mga information sa mga rejected paper reports during processing kasi minsan merong mga report na misaligned and tinatapon yon. Bali, ang nangyayari, yung mga original output natatapon and yun yung kinukuha ni perpetrator. So, merong another form ng fraud which is yung eavesdropping. Involves listening to output transmission over telecommunications line. Ang nangyari dito, yung mga perpetrator is may mga technology sila na ginagamit para marinig yung mga information over unprotected telephone lines. So, syempre, makakuha sila ng information through this and may affect the company. Next is auditor's responsibility for detecting fraud. Yung guidelines para ma-detect yung fraud is presented in SAS number 99, Consideration of Fraud in a Financial Statement Audit. Yung una is description and characteristic of fraud. So, syempre, yung description and characteristic ng certain kind of fraud na yon. Next is professional skepticism. Dahil sa characteristic ng fraud na na-identify natin, yung auditors is required to exercise professional skepticism. Yung auditor should have an attitude that includes a questioning mind and critical assessment of audit evidence. Ayun. Next is engagement, personnel discussion. So, yung SAS number 99 is required na yung audit team na i-discuss yung potential for a material misstatement sa financial statement due to fraud before and during the gathering process. Next is obtaining audit evidence and information. So, yung SAS number 99, nire-require yung auditors to make inquiries of others within the entity. So, mag-i-obtain sila ng information doon from analytical procedure to obtain din ng audit evidence. Next is identifying risk. So, yung auditor's responsibility is to make inquiries para ma-identify yung mga risk na yon. Next is assessing the identified risk. So, after ma-identify yung fraud risk, we must assess the identified risk para ma-determine if yung entity is at risk due to the fraud. Next is responding to the assessment. Syempre, after ma-assess yung magiging respond natin sa na-identify natin na risk. Next is evaluating audit evidence and information. Dito naman magpa-perform tayo ng substantive procedure as part of the overall review stage ng audit. And dito natin malalaman yung mga unrecognized risk due to fraud. Next is communicating possible fraud. So, syempre, the auditor's responsibility is to communicate about the fraud to management and those charged with governance and others. Lastly is documenting consideration of fraud. So, si auditor should document all the discussions among engagement, yung procedures na pinerform para ma-obtain yung information, yung mga specific risk, ayun. There are two types of fraud na relevant sa auditor's consideration, and yung auditors is also required to assess yung mga risk factors na to. So, yung una is fraudulent financial reporting. Risk factors that relate to fraudulent financial reporting are grouped according to the following classification. First is management's characteristic and influence over the control environment. So, these factors pertain sa management abilities, pressures, styles, and attitude relating to internal control and financial reporting process. For example is high turnover ng senior management. Next is industry conditions. Included dito yung economic and regulatory environment kung saan nag-operate si entity. For example, declining industry with increasing business failures and significant declines sa customer demands. Next is operating characteristics and financial stability. So, this pertains sa nature and complexity of transaction entity. For example, yung mga company na involved sa related third party transaction na hindi na audit is maybe at risk to fraud. So, in case na in case ng financial fraud, si external auditor kailangan hanapin yung certain kinds of scheme na mga to. Yung una is improper revenue recognition, improper treatment of sales, improper asset valuation, improper deferral of cost and expenses, improper recording of liabilities, and inadequate disclosure. Then, yung isang type of fraud na relevant sa auditor's consideration is misappropriation of asset. So, there are two risk factors na related to misappropriation of asset. Yung una is susceptibility of assets to misappropriation. Pertaining to sa nature and degree to which it is subject to theft or fraud. For example, yung mga liquid assets like cash na malaki yung chances sa fraud kaysa sa mga non-liquid assets like PPEs. Next is control. Dito naman sa control is yung lack of controls na dinesign para i-prevent or i-detect yung misappropriate asset. For example, lack of appropriate management oversight tulad ng inadequate supervision or monitoring sa remote locations. Ayun. So, ito yung example of common schemes related to employees theft. Personal purchases, ghost employees, fictitious expense, altered payee, pass-through vendors, theft of cash or inventory, and lapping. So, ayun lang po. Thank you.